Hey guys, I'm Elizabeth, and guess what? Today, I'm taking over the channel because Silmina's off in another galaxy, fighting monsters or whatever. Because, you know, it takes a monster to fight a monster. Honestly, I hope she loses so I can take over this channel for good. I'm tired of her constantly making fun of me in every video. What does she even think I am? A goldfish? Yes, you are a goldfish. How dare you lock me in the bathroom? You're going to pay for this, Elizabeth. Okay, sorry for the ruckus, everyone. I've locked Elizabeth in a jar so she won't be causing any more scenes. Now, let's dive into your questions from earlier. Because after this, I've got a goldfish to cook for dinner. You monster! Alright, let's kick things off with a wholesome question from Eurydice. Well, I say wholesome, but she bombarded me with 5 questions at once like she's auditioning to be a journalist or something. That's definitely going to cost her more than just a tooth, so buckle up, Eurydice. First question. What do I think about the IDV community? One word, chaotic. The IDV community is like mixing wine, vegetable oil, kerosene, and gunpowder together. It's a blend so potent it'll destroy your digestive system on the spot. Honestly, I probably wouldn't be able to tell the difference between that and nuclear waste. Seriously, it's so chaotic that even a trained therapist would need therapy after spending 5 minutes in it. How chaotic is it, you ask? Well, in IDV, you've got 4 types of gamers. The casual ones, the die-hard ones, the fashionistas, and the simps. The casual players? They're the chill ones, just playing for fun. Then there's the die-hard players who practically live in the game, even when they're asleep. These guys are the ones who break their devices after getting terror-shocked within 10 seconds. Next, we have the fashionistas. They own every dazzling skin available and survive on instant ramen because they're saving all their money for the latest skins from NetEase. And last but not least, the simps. Usually Joseph or Norton mains, these players would drop everything, including their boyfriends, just to get a bit of attention from their in-game crush. So yeah, that's how chaotic the community is. Second question. If I could add a character, I'd introduce a hunter who can mimic survivors for a few seconds, pretending to be an ally and then, bam! Terror shock. That would be epic. Let's call that hunter the doppelganger. Third question is a bit of a rocker, asking about a rock band. If IDV survivors ever formed a rock band, what would the lineup look like? The vocalist would definitely be Ada Mesmer. Her moaning sounds are so charming, they attract both men and women alike, making you question if you're playing IDV or accidentally tuned into an adult movie. On bass guitar, we've got Emil. Now, Emil doesn't even know how to play bass. He'd rather be feeding Elizabeth than making music. Speaking of which, how's Elizabeth doing? No! Okay, she's fine. Anyway, Emil doesn't want to play music, but Ada blackmails him with some bathroom pictures, so he reluctantly agrees. Lead guitar goes to Andrew. Ever wonder why Andrew keeps his shovel around? When he's not digging graves including his own, he's practicing guitar with it. That's why he's so good at it. And for drums, we've got Chi Shi. She loves smacking things, so naturally, smacking drums is right up her alley. Together, they'd make a killer band with their hit single, You're On Your Own. Fourth question. What if the Hunters made a rock band? Now that's a rockin' question. Mary would definitely be the lead singer. Admit it, a lot of you love her sexy coughing voice, probably using it as ASMR for, well, you know, something pleasant. Plus, if she ever headbangs at a concert, her head might just fall off. Now that's a show! Antonio would take the lead guitar, but only because no one would let him play the violin. His guitar skills are questionable at best, but what choice do they have? Geisha tries to encourage him, but since she's an honest, sexy chick, her encouragement feels more like an insult. She'd say, "Don't worry, Antonio. I know you suck at the violin. And yeah, you're so ugly most of your hair covers your face like that ghost from The Ring. But I totally believe you can play guitar. You'll do fine." On bass, we've got Naiad. She uses her harpoon as an imaginary guitar, just like Andrew with his shovel. I wouldn't be surprised if they got married someday. And for drums, Leo Bet. He loves smashing things up, especially after losing rank matches, so smashing drums is the perfect outlet. Together, they'd make a perfect rock band with their best hit, "We Hate Cockroaches." Last question. What would Helena text to Galatea if she had a smartphone? You can bet it'd be a "damn you" message in Braille. She'd be furious that NetEase gave her a smartphone while she's blind. That's not generosity, that's just plain insulting. I've got to hand it to Yui for asking some simple yet oddly therapeutic questions. They're almost like a soothing balm for the trauma of surviving on instant ramen for days on end. So, let's dive into them, shall we? First question. What's my favorite food and drink? Well, my favorite food is anything that doesn't come in a plastic-wrapped brick labeled instant. This question really takes me back to the dark days when I was a part-time teacher at a learning center, getting paid a whopping $80 a month. My flat costs $50 a month. Super cheap, right? So, I was left with $30 to live on, which meant a diet consisting solely of instant ramen and tap water. For drinks, I'm all about coffee. Black coffee, to be precise. No milk, no sugar, just pure, unadulterated bitterness. It's like drinking a cup of my life. Dark, bitter, and surprisingly comforting once you get used to it. Third question. Do I have any IDV merchandise? Well, I would if I were a millionaire. But, alas, I'm too broke for that luxury. I'm so broke that I can live off 4 packs of ramen for an entire week. So, no IDV merch for me. Unless, of course, you're feeling generous and want to gift me some, I'd be more than happy to accept. Muse got a juicy question for us. Do I believe Norton Campbell is the core cause of the global economic downturn? First, let's consult the experts. According to Fundamentals of Economics by Professor Lapadura, an economic downturn happens when supply and demand get all out of whack and only stabilizes when things are back in balance. Now, let's break this down with Norton's antic. Norton's grand plan to become the next crazy rich American involved blowing up a mine for a mineral that doesn't even exist. Brilliant, right? So, he basically shut down a mine, leading to a shortage of goods. And, surprise! Supply and demand are all mixed up. That imbalance? Yep, it's got a direct line to the global economic downturn. In conclusion, while Norton might not single-handedly be responsible for the entire economic mess, he's definitely a key player in the chaos. There are some questions in life that really make you think. Just like this user asked me 2 questions that I couldn't stop thinking about. The first one was, who's the easiest and hardest hunter for you to handle? Now, normally, you'd think this requires 2 answers, right? One for the easiest, one for the hardest. But no, not for me. For me, it's the same guy, Professor Burke Lapadura. Yeah, you heard that right. The easiest and hardest hunter for me to handle is this one grandpa who's just trying to mind his own business, planting fences like it's gardening day at the retirement home. Here's the thing about Burke. He's the kind of hunter that you kinda want to play against, but also, you don't. Like, I find myself sometimes asking hunters before a match, hey, can you play Burke? And when they do, well, let's just say I lose a few brain cells along the way. I mean, how do I explain this? Burke is easy to handle, sure, All you really need to do is harass him. Don't let him use his gadgets. Just stay on him like that one annoying mosquito that never dies no matter how many times you swat it. I mean a real mosquito, by the way, not the other kind of mosquito whom you can find on the street. The problem is, he's so easy to handle that I forget the whole purpose of the game. Suddenly, it's not about winning anymore. It's about bullying this poor old grandpa like he stole my lunch money back in the day. And this is why Burke is also the hardest hunter for me to handle. The moment he shows up, my brain just shuts down. All my strategies, my objectives, my sense of self-preservation, gone. Out the window. I see him and I'm like, oh look, it's Grandpa Burke. Let's annoy him. Now the second question I got was, what would happen if survivors and hunters could ban 3 characters each in duo hunters mode? You know what would happen. Bane Perez and Emily Dyer would be rarer than finding Antiquarian who can kite more than 20 seconds. I mean, let's face it, these two are pretty much OP in this mode. Back in the day, I remember healing 17 times in one match as the doctor. I was basically a mobile ambulance, just rolling around, patching people up left and right. And Bane? Well, he's got those bear traps. Remember how everyone in Duo Hunters mode turns into a wannabe gangster, trying to harass the hunters? Well, not on his watch. His bear traps could stop any harassers and make their days miserable. So yeah, I think if survivors and hunters could ban characters, we'd see a lot less of those two. Last time, this user hit me with an epic question about the zombie apocalypse. Now, they're back with another gem. What would happen if Geisha and Mary threw down in a fight? Honestly, I can't think of any reason these two would beef. I mean, Geisha, Mary, and Naiad are basically the Powerpuff Girls of this universe. Window shopping besties who probably gossip over tea about their favorite stores. But hey, let's entertain this wild scenario. If Geisha and Mary were to clash, well, given their massive fan bases, it wouldn't just be a fight. It'd be an all-out fandom showdown. Think World War III but with prettier outfits, way more drama, and an army of stans ready to battle in their honor. It'd be chaotic. Lester asked me this imaginative question. If I were a character in the game, who would I be? Well, let me tell you, I'm not one for the spotlight. Back in high school, when everyone was fighting tooth and nail for the lead role in the school play, I was the one volunteering to be the caterpillar. Yep, the caterpillar. Why? Because while everyone else was stressing over lines and flashy performances, I was lying on my belly, doing absolutely nothing. Genius, right? Why wasn't I motivated to do more? Simple. There was no paycheck involved. If I'm not getting paid, why on earth would I want the lead role? Let the others have their moment. I was more than happy to sleep through it. So, if I had to pick a character in this game, I wouldn't go for the flashy survivor or the intense hunter. Nope, I'd be the tram! The one that just glides through, with no effort, and always wins. No muss, no fuss, and definitely no sweat. Just pure, effortless victory. Hey, what are you doing? Oh my god, help! Oh, what's going on here? Silmina's off saving the universe again. Typical. Off to hang out with Ultraman or whatever. So, looks like it's up to me, Elizabeth, to take over. Now, let's get to Nick's question, shall we? Nick asked if I'd slap him if he got terror-shocked in 10 seconds as a full-kite build Edgar Valden. Well, Nick, I'm not really into slapping. I'm more of a hugging person. You're a goldfish. Shut it! Anyway, Nick, you're in luck. No slaps from me. But speaking of luck, did you know polar bears can stand up to 2.5 meters? And they're pretty aggressive, often considered the deadliest bears around. Funny you should mention this, Nick, because I recently booked 2 tickets to a polar expedition. One for me, and one for Silmina. But since she's off saving the world, would you like to fill in for her? It'll be an unforgettable experience. Don't worry, I definitely won't taunt the bear or leave you alone with it. Nope, not at all. By the way, you've got life insurance, right? If not, you might want to get on that. Just a little precaution, since we'll be hanging out with a hungry, aggressive polar bear. I'll be fully equipped, and you'll have a kitchen knife, perfect for making the polar bear a nice lunch. Trust me, it'll be an adventure. This guy, whose name kinda reminds me of some old school security company, hit me up about a crossover. Okay, who isn't interested in crossover? IDV fans have been cranking out more crossovers than Netties can even keep up with. It's like the fans have a secret factory somewhere, churning out ideas while Netties just cashes them by selling pixelated fashion that somehow makes our wallets cry. Anyway, he wanted to know what kind of crossover I'd prefer in the future. I responded with, something that won't drain my bank account, and definitely something with little girls. Yeah, I know. It's like wishing for a rainstorm in the desert, since Netties would probably go broke if they stopped squeezing every last penny out of their players. I can't even recall the last time they did a crossover that didn't come with a side of financial devastation. Thankfully, Silmina never really splurges on this game, except for that one time she bought some ivory tower skins for just 60 echoes. And yeah, that still stings because she bought that dancer skin on my birthday, and guess what I got? Absolutely nothing. Maybe Silmina's secretly plotting against me, but don't worry. I'm totally taking over this channel one day. Just you wait. What the hell? I'm gonna murder you, monster! Come here! How can you set free? No, not the frying pan. No! Sorry for the chaos earlier, folks. I've safely stashed Elizabeth away, so she won't be causing any more trouble. Now, back to the question at hand. Let's see. Foro wants to know about my diet if I were to be given a sandwich with an IDV character's theme. Great question, but honestly, I'm not sure such a sandwich even exists. I mean, what would it be? A Lucino sandwich? Who in their right mind wants to bite into a T-Rex sandwich? The T-Rex should be eating us, not the other way around. And don't even get me started on Violetta. I'm definitely not chomping down on a sandwich stuffed with tarantula. That's nightmare fuel, not lunch. Now, if eating a hunter-themed sandwich sounds insane, a survivor-themed one isn't any better. Norton Campbell on rye? No thanks. I wouldn't even eat him if he begged me to. I'd just toss him to the T-Rex and call it a day. But if I had to choose, well, maybe I'd go with a Naiad-themed sandwich. I could just close my eyes and pretend I'm eating mackerel. Or, better yet, I'd go for a Melly-themed sandwich. I'm not big on sweets, but I figure anything Melly-related would at least be edible, assuming Melly herself isn't part of the filling. Flores hit me with a big one. When will I get a real job? That's an interesting question. Let me tell you, the concept of a real job is a complete myth. It's basically a trap, especially the job interview part. If you've seen my previous videos, you know I've said it before. Job interviews are just an insult disguised as a formality. The only time I almost nailed a job interview was when I applied for a gig at a haunted house because they needed people to act as ghosts. But, plot twist, I showed up with full makeup and everything looking all shiny and they rejected me. Apparently I was too polished. What a load of BS, right? Do they think I should come into the interview dressing as Valak from The Conjuring? Hell no! The police would arrest me before I even arrived for the interview. On a serious note, I've tried my hand at a bunch of different jobs over the years. I've been a crew member at a shoe store, a teacher at a learning center, a bookstore employee, a receptionist at a hospital, an Uber driver, a journalist, and a store owner. Right now, I run a grocery store, where I get to ask every customer if they'd like to donate to the poor as they check out. So far, I'm happy to report that no one's flipped me off yet. Well, that's it for now. Feel free to hit me up with more questions in the future, since I'm still kinda scratching my head over what IDV-related content to do next. For now, I'm hungry, and I'm gonna make a grilled Elizabeth. A grilled fish for dinner. Thanks for watching, and see you next time!